In this video, we're going to be talking about graph transformations, which basically what they are is a shorthand for sketching a graph based on the equation. So we've been graphing linear equations, absolute value, and quadratic, and this is going to be a nice little shorthand for sketching the graph for each of those. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of transformations. We have an x-axis flip, where if we have our apparent function of f of x, an x-axis flip is going to be a negative being multiplied to the outside of that function. A vertical shift, that is going to be when we have a number being added or subtracted outside of the parent function. Horizontal shift is when we have a number being added or subtracted inside the function. Y-axis flip is when we have a negative being multiplied on the inside. And a shrink or stretch is when we have a number being multiplied on the outside of f of x. Okay, and let's make a little note. If the absolute value of a is bigger than 1, it's a stretch. If the absolute value of a is smaller than 1, it's a shrink. So these are all the types of transformations you'll see during this chapter, but for this video we're going to focus mainly on two of them. We're going to focus on the vertical shift and the horizontal shift. We'll talk about the flips and the shrink and stretch later. So here's a closer look at the two types of transformations we're going to be dealing with. So we have a vertical and horizontal shift. And again, the forms they come in is f of x plus k and f of x minus h. Okay, so if we have f of x plus k, this is going to be a vertical shift up k units. Up k units. If it is f of x minus k, it's a vertical shift down k units. And now for horizontal shift, if we have f of x minus h, we're subtracting on the inside. Oops, sorry about that. It's going to be a horizontal shift to the right h units. And if it's f of x plus h, it's going to be to the left h units. Now again, you could do all these graphs by hand by plugging into the t-chart, picking 5 or 6 x values, plugging them in, apply one on the graph. You would get the same answer no matter what. This is just a nice little shorthand. Alright, now I'm going to try and sketch all these graphs on the same coordinate plane. Now traditionally, if we're trying to sketch these graphs, we would have to do a t-chart for each one, pick about 5 or 6 points for each equation, plot, sketch the graph, and that's it. But here we're just going to try and use our shorthand. So the first thing is, let's figure out what our parent function is. So what is the graph going to look like? We have x squared, x minus 2 squared, x squared. So it looks like each one of these, our parent function is going to be x squared. So our graph is going to resemble a parabola. So we know that the x squared function looks like a u. So we're going to take each one of these equations and trying to guesstimate what's happening. So look at our blue equation, y equals x squared minus 2. Well, if our parent function is x squared, and this minus 2 is happening outside of the squared, that means this is going to be a vertical shift. Now if you look back at the cheat sheet, if it's subtraction on the outside, that means we're going to be going, this is going to be a vertical shift down 2. Now I'm just going to take our parent function graph and move it down 2. So we're going to take all this stuff, move it down 2. Okay, so we took, the easiest way to do this is take the original point or the origin, 0, 0, and perform the transformation off that. So we went from 0, 0, we moved it down 2, now we can draw our u. Now for the one in the green, we have y equals x minus 2 squared. So that subtraction of 2 is occurring inside the squared. So that means it's going to be a horizontal shift. Looking back at your little cheat sheet, that's going to be to the right. Oops. It's going to be to the right 2 units. So we're going to take everything from our parent function, and move it to the right 2 units. So we go from 0, 0, move it over 2. Just do your best to draw the parabola. X squared plus 3. That's addition outside the parent function. So it's going to be a vertical shift. Since it's plus, we're going to be going up 3. And last but not least, we have x plus 3 squared. It's a horizontal shift, so it's going to be to the left 3 units. Alright, so that's basically the types of transformations you'll see in this video. Next, we're going to be talking about the flips and shrinks and stretches. But for now, let's try a couple practice problems. Alright, after watching the video, you should be able to do these problems. We're dealing with the absolute value graph this time. So not doing anything very fancy, just describing the transformations and sketching them all on the same coordinate plane.